You think you're being nice. You think you're being helpful. But let me tell you something. Your constant availability is making you weak. And everybody knows it. They can smell it on you like cheap cologne. Look, when someone texts you at 11 p.m. asking for a quick favor, and you respond in 30 seconds, what do you think happens? I'll tell you what happens. You just taught them that your time is worthless. That you're sitting there, waiting, hoping someone needs you. Like a dog waiting for scraps under the table. But I want to help people. Oh, please, you don't want to help people. You want to be needed. There's a difference. One comes from strength, the other comes from emptiness. And which one are you? Epictetus. Now there was a man who understood this, a slave who became more free than any emperor. You know why? Because he figured out the ultimate cheat code, the power to say no, not out of spite, not out of anger, but out of complete indifference to whether people liked him or not. What did you do last week? Let me guess. You said yes to that meeting you didn't need to attend. You answered that call during dinner. You apologized for taking 2 hours to respond to a text. You explained yourself when no explanation was needed. Am I getting warm? Here's the thing nobody tells you. Every time you drop everything to be available, you're not just giving away your time. You're giving away your power. You're training the world to treat you like a vending machine. Insert request, receive compliance, and the real kick in the teeth, they don't even respect you for it. Oh, they'll use you, sure. But respect? That's reserved for people who value themselves enough to be occasionally unreachable. You know what Epictetus said? No one can hurt you without your permission. Think about that. No one can hurt you without your permission. But you're handing out permission slips like candy on Halloween. Here, hurt me. I'm available 24/7 for your convenience. Let me paint you a picture. There are two people in an office. One answers every email within 5 minutes, stays late whenever asked, takes calls on weekends, says yes to every project. The other one takes a day to respond to non-urgent emails, leaves at 5 p.m. sharp, phone goes off at 8 carefully chooses which projects deserve their time. Who gets promoted? I'll wait. Yeah, you know the answer. It's not the human doormat. It never is, because being constantly available doesn't signal dedication. It signals desperation. It screams, I have nothing else going on. I am nothing without this. But here's where it gets really interesting. The moment you stop being available, something magical happens. People start wondering what you're up to. What could possibly be more important than immediately responding to their request? Suddenly, you become interesting. Suddenly, you have value. But won't people get angry? Of course they will. The people who benefit from your constant availability will throw tantrums like toddlers who've had their pacifier taken away. Good, let them. Their anger is not your problem. Epictetus knew this. He said, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about those things. You think their anger disturbs you? No, your judgment that you must prevent their anger. That's what disturbs you. Their emotions are their business. Your boundaries are yours. I knew someone once. Brilliant programmer, smartest guy in the room, always available. Slack messages at midnight, he's there. Weekend emergency, he's your man. Need someone to stay until 2 a.m. to fix a bug? He's already brewing coffee. You know what they called him? The machine. Not out of respect, out of expectation. Like you'd talk about a printer. Oh, the machine will handle it. No one wondered about his dreams, his life, his aspirations. He was just available. Then something shifted. Maybe he read Epictetus. Maybe he just got tired. But he started saying no. Can you stay late? No. Quick call on Saturday? No. Just a small favor? No, the first week was chaos. People acted like the world was ending. How dare he have boundaries? How dare he value his time? But by week 3, they started treating him differently. Requests came with, when you have time attached. His opinions suddenly carried weight. Why? Because scarcity creates value. Always has. Always will. You're sitting there thinking, but I don't want to be mean. Who said anything about being mean? This isn't about cruelty. It's about clarity. When you're unavailable, you're not punishing others. You're prioritizing yourself. There's a universe of difference. Epictetus put it perfectly. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. You know what the modern version of that is? Wealth consists not in being needed by everyone, but in needing validation from no one. Every notification on your phone is someone else's priority, trying to become yours. Every quick question is someone deciding their time is more valuable than yours. And you keep letting them. Because somewhere deep down, you believe that being needed equals being valued. But that's the lie, isn't it? Being needed and being valued are not the same thing. Your mother needs you to call her back. Your boss needs you to finish that report. Your friend needs you to listen to their drama. Need. But where's the value? Where's the respect? I'll tell you where it is. It's reserved for people who understand a fundamental truth. Your availability is a gift, not an obligation. And gifts given too freely lose their worth. Think about the most successful people you know. Not the ones grinding themselves to dust, but the truly successful ones. The ones who seem to have time for what matters. Notice something? They're not constantly available. They don't respond to texts immediately. They don't pick up every call. They choose, because choice is power. But what if it's an emergency? Oh, the emergency excuse. Everything's an emergency when you're always available. Someone's printer isn't working? Emergency. Someone needs advice on what to wear? Emergency. Someone's bored and wants to chat? You guessed it. Emergency. Real emergencies are rare. Maybe 3 times a year. Everything else? It's just poor planning dressed up in urgent clothing, and you keep falling for it because you've trained everyone that you're the solution to their poor planning. Here's what Epictetus understood that you don't. You are not your reputation. Read that again. You are not your reputation. That thing you're so worried about, what people will think if you don't respond immediately, if you say no, if you're not available, that's not you. That's just noise. You're terrified that if you stop being available, people will stop liking you. And you know what? Some will. The users, the takers, the ones who see you as a resource rather than a person, they'll disappear faster than free food at an office party. Good riddance. Because here's the beautiful truth. When you stop being available to everyone, you become truly present for the people who matter. When you stop spreading yourself thin trying to please the world, you can pour yourself fully into the moments and relationships that deserve it. But you have to choose. And choosing means saying no. Not maybe, not let me check my schedule. Not I'll try. No, clean, clear, without justification. No, I can't make that meeting. Period. No, I won't be responding to emails this weekend. Full stop. No, that doesn't work for me. End of discussion. Feel that discomfort? That squirming feeling in your chest? That's your programming fighting back. Years of being told that good people are always helpful, always available, always saying yes. But that programming isn't serving you. It's serving everyone else at your expense. Epictetus was a slave, remember? Literally owned by another human being. And yet he said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You're walking around with no chains, no owner, completely free, and you've enslaved yourself to everyone else's schedule. The phone buzzes. Someone needs something. Your hand twitches toward it, like Pavlov's dog hearing a bell. But what if you didn't? What if you let it buzz? What if their urgency didn't automatically become your emergency? But I'll miss opportunities. Will you? Or will you finally have space for the right opportunities? When you're always available for everything, you're never truly available for anything. You're spread so thin, you might as well be invisible. I watched a friend transform her entire career with one simple change. She stopped responding to emails after 6 p.m. That's it. No complex system, no elaborate rules, just stopped. First month was hell. People complained. Her boss made comments. Colleagues grumbled. But she held firm. By month 3, her work improved because she was actually rested. Her ideas were sharper because her mind had space to think. She got promoted within the year. Why? Because unavailability signals value. It says, I have a life worth protecting. I have priorities worth maintaining. I am not a 24/7 convenience store. You think being always available makes you indispensable? It makes you invisible. You become part of the furniture, taken for granted like electricity or running water. Only noticed when you're not there, and then only with annoyance, not appreciation. But when you're selectively available, when your presence is a choice rather than a given, that's when people lean in. That's when they pay attention. That's when your words carry weight. Epictetus said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." You know what he meant? Stop wishing people would respect your time while you keep giving it away. Start acting like someone whose time is worth respecting. Every time you instantly respond, you teach. Every time you drop everything, you train. Every time you apologize for having boundaries, you reinforce. You're not just living your life, you're teaching everyone around you how to treat you. And right now, the lesson plan needs work. But I genuinely want to help. Do you? Or do you want to feel important? There's helping because someone truly needs it and you're the right person to provide it. Then there's helping because you need to feel needed. One builds others up. The other props up your ego. Which one are you doing? Real help requires boundaries. A doctor who's available 24/7 burns out and helps no one. A therapist without office hours becomes ineffective. A friend who never says no becomes an enabler. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're what make genuine help possible. You know what's really selfish? Being so available that you're operating at 30% capacity because you're exhausted, spread thin, resentful. That's not generosity. That's ego dressed up in helper's clothing. The ancient Stoics had a concept called preferred indifference. Things that are nice to have but not necessary for a good life. You know what belongs on that list? Other people's approval of your availability, their convenience, their immediate gratification. When you stop being available, some people will call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. They'll guilt trip you with, "You used to be so helpful." Translation, "You used to be so useful to me, and I don't like that you've stopped." These are not your people. Your people, the ones who actually value you rather than your utility, they'll respect your boundaries. They'll work around your schedule. They'll understand that your time is a gift, not a given right. But first, you have to believe it yourself. You have to stop treating your own time like it's worthless. You have to stop apologizing for having a life outside of other people's needs. Epictetus taught that we control very little in life. Not outcomes, not others' actions, not even our own bodies ultimately, but we control our choices. We control our responses. We control whether we pick up that phone. So here's the challenge. For 1 week, just 1 week, try being unavailable. Don't announce it. Don't make a big deal about it. Just be less available. Take an hour to respond to non-urgent texts. Let calls go to voicemail. Say no to 1 request per day without explaining why. Watch what happens. Watch how some people get angry. These are the users. Watch how others simply adjust. These are your people. Watch how you feel. Probably anxious at first, then something else. Free, maybe? Powerful? Like you own your own life? Because here's the secret. When you stop being available to everyone, you become invaluable to the right ones. When you stop being everywhere, your presence anywhere becomes significant. When you stop saying yes to everything, your yes means something. Epictetus, the slave who was more free than emperors, knew this truth. Whoever then wants to be free, let him neither wish for anything nor flee from anything that depends on others. Otherwise, he must be a slave. Your constant availability, that depends on others. On their approval, their needs, their schedules. Your boundaries, those depend only on you. The choice is yours. Keep being everyone's 24/7 convenience store, or start being your own person. Keep letting others' priorities run your life, or start choosing your own. Keep being available to everyone and valuable to no one, or flip the script entirely. They say when one door closes, another opens. But you know what they don't tell you? Sometimes you need to close the door yourself. Sometimes you need to put up the do not disturb sign. Sometimes you need to be unreachable so you can finally reach yourself. Your phone is buzzing right now, isn't it? Someone needs something. Someone has a quick question. Someone just wants to chat. And your hand is twitching toward it because that's what you do. You respond. You're available. You're there. But what if just this once you weren't? What if you let it buzz? What if their need had to wait? What if you chose yourself? Epictetus would. He'd probably laugh at the idea that someone else's poor planning constitutes his emergency. He'd recognize the buzzing for what it is. Someone else trying to control his choices. And he'd let it buzz, not out of spite, not out of anger, out of freedom. The kind of freedom that comes from knowing a fundamental truth. When you stop being available, everything changes. Not because the world changes, because you do. You stop being a resource and start being a person. You stop being useful and start being valuable. You stop being needed and start being wanted. And that changes everything. So let me ask you something. How much longer are you going to keep living on everyone else's schedule? How many more interrupted dinners, stolen weekends, fragmented days? How much more of your life are you willing to hand over to anyone who asks? Because time, your time, it's not coming back. Every minute you spend being available to someone else's non-emergency is a minute you don't spend on your own life. And despite what you tell yourself, you don't have unlimited minutes. Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" Not from others, for yourself. From yourself. The best includes boundaries. The best includes choice. The best includes the radical idea that your time belongs to you. You want to know when everything changes? It changes the moment you realize that being unavailable isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's not mean. It's honest. It's not wrong. It's the only way to live a life that's actually yours. The moment you stop letting everyone else's urgency become your emergency. The moment you understand that no is a complete sentence. The moment you stop being available. That's when everything changes. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when people understand. Now, right now, that buzz, let it wait. Your life, it's been waiting long enough.